No. He has us.
In every great action film, there are major stunt sequences to pull off, costumes that could spontaneously combust, and dangerous scenes performed in freezing cold waters. Prey has all of that and more in this action-packed Predator sequel. The Predator costume was the cause of some pretty major challenges for actor Dane Diliegro. The cast talked with Cinema Blend about the filming process, and Dane expressed how excited he was to see the movie, because while he was filming in the suit, he couldn't see or hear anything at all. When Predator's head was facing forward, Dane's head was looking down at the ground through two tiny slits in the neck. The only way he was able to get through the fight scenes was by following sticks on the ground and listening to cues through a buzzing earpiece.
I can't wait to see this thing. I didn't see a damn thing there.
Number 2. Yeah, the Predator suit also went up in flames for a minute there. In the scene where Raphael is trying to hide from Predator but ends up being found and brutally eliminated, Dane irritated some of the wires in his suit while lifting his arm up to do the slashing motion. When he was walking back to his reset mark, he heard Rich Cohen, who talks to him through the speaker in his ear, go,
Is he on fire?
Unfortunately, he short-circuited the battery pack right above his shoulder, doing too many takes.
I took my head back and all this smoke engulfed my face and one of my nose.
Luckily, the crew was able to get everything off in time for him to leave with little to no injuries. Number 3. We've got a lot to say about the Predator suit. First in discussion, though, is the fact that there were 6 different suits.
Each one had their own particular scent to it.
Apparently, that foam latex really held on to every drop of sweat and the scents that came along with it. After each day, there'd be a team of people wringing them out.
Oh man, they still got the goop on you. And he's like, that's not goop, that's my sweat.
Clearly, Dane Diliegro and his suits went through the ringer on this film.
There's instances where I would squat down on my knees and sweat would kind of shoot out of my suit.
Number 4. Yeah, no one had a good time getting down and dirty in that thing.
The mud pit smelled like rotting fertilizer poo.
The weird part about it is that it actually smelled fine before they got into it. It was only after it was touched by human flesh that it started to get the awful smell.
Think of raw sewage and then multiply that by 10, and then you have a fraction of what it smells.
Number 5. They can't catch a break from this mud. Not only was it brutal getting into the pit, but it was also a huge ordeal to clean up afterward. In an interview with Bloody Disgusting, Amber Midthunder opens up about what she went through after leaving the pit. I would get out of that and walk over to a dark tent with a horse trough. I would stand there, and 4 women would hose me down. They were so sweet and lovely. They gave me hot water because it was also cold. That was a wild experience when I think of the details. Number 6. We're talking tons and tons of smoke, but barely anything getting captured. The crew had 4 machines on the back of pickup trucks, just churning out massive amounts of smoke for the burnt glade sequence. There was so much, in fact, that there were helicopters coming out to make sure it wasn't a brush fire. The painful part of this for Dan Trachtenburg was that over the course of 8 days they had to shoot this, they just couldn't get it done because the smoke wouldn't stay in the air.
At lunch, I was just kind of had a little bit of a freak out and was like, well, we have to rewrite the scene.
They ended up slowly getting one shot at a time and putting it all together, but it was a longer, much more grueling process than it was expected to be. Number 7. We're going back to the burnt glade sequence again. Dakota Beavers, as a first-time actor, really struggled with trying to get this done on little to no sleep.
You know, you get a little crazy when you haven't slept right.
Not only were the fans blowing smoke in his and Amber's faces as they were trying to film, but they also couldn't hear each other and needed earpieces.
I was like, I really hope I'm not dropping the ball here.
Number 8. Dakota Beavers wanted to do as many stunts as they would let him. So badly that he didn't want anyone to know he'd been injured because he didn't want to be taken off the stunt.
When I'm rolling in the dirt, I'm not wearing a shirt, so I was just covered with scratches.
There's another scene where he's laying horizontally on the ground and he pulled a muscle in his abdomen pretty badly.
So that was actually really painful, but I didn't tell anybody.
Number 9. There was a bit of fear on set while filming in these mountains. Around the time of the shoot, that's when all the bears were coming out of hibernation in Canada, so there needed to be a bear guard on set at all times in case any bears approached the set.
The bears were waking up and they were hungry, so we had to kind of be careful.
Number 10. It was a grueling 4 weeks. Amber, Midthunder, and the rest of the cast were given a mandatory boot camp to prepare for their roles.
We did weapons and we had a personal trainer and the stunt people were there.
Even with all the training, there were still plenty of scenes that they couldn't have imagined would be as difficult as they are.
There's some level of just no ability to prepare for some of the things that we were doing.
Number 11. This seems to be a theme when it came to the struggle of getting this movie done. Amber Midthunder found herself getting completely disoriented when it came to reshooting scenes for the sake of getting the best light. They'd be halfway through one scene, and then they'd tell her,
Oh, you have to go back here. Oh, makeup change something. You're gonna be on the cliff. I was like, what is going on?
Because of all these random scene resets, she completely lost all concept of time.
Oh my god, we're never gonna leave. I'm not gonna survive.
Number 12. Amber also had to learn a ton of choreography for this film. She actually wishes it didn't take as long as it did.
In my world, I remember that fight as a magical thing that I learned
Yeah, it definitely wasn't that simple.
over 3 days, and there was no rehearsal.
Every free moment she had, she would get pulled into more rehearsal to learn major fight sequences.
We changed it a lot at the last minute, and you did have to learn that very quickly in your defense.
Number 13. Obviously, there are a ton of stunts in this film, and some hardworking stunt doubles to do them. But Amber, like Dakota Beavers, wanted to do as many stunts as they would let her. She talks to Slash Film about the kind of stunts she had to perform as Naru. I would learn every stunt sequence in its entirety, and as much as I could possibly do, I wanted to do everything myself. So I got to jump off the tree. I got to get thrown off of the predator. I got to fight him. Because of this, she even had input on how major fight sequences would play out. Dan would kind of guide the stunt team, and then the stunt team would take it to me. Number 14. This was Amber's most daunting scene, due to the fact it was performed in an actual freezing cold river. Though it was summertime, the scene was filmed in a glacial runoff. She was basically starting off her day with an ice bath for 5 days straight. Though it ended up being one of her most rewarding scenes to pull off, every day she would just stare at the river full of anxiety before she had to get in it. Number 15. Coco, the shelter dog, lands the role of a lifetime as Sari, Naru's fluffy sidekick.
Yeah, the dog was chaos, I'm not gonna lie.
Though everyone loved her as a companion, sometimes the set proved to be a bit challenging for her. There was a moment during filming where producer Jane Myers was trying to help everyone with their war cry, and well,
The dog just took off, and it headed for the hills.
the dog trainer was not very happy with her.
The dog trainer just looked at me and got so mad at me. That scared the dog.
Even after costumes being lit aflame, intense boot camps, ice-cold water, and painful stunt choreography, this cast and crew wouldn't have wanted Prey to go any other way. What was your favorite moment from the film?